New York Giants fans, I am back and I want to do what I said I was going to do. I want to talk about the burning questions, the driving questions on defense that I think need to be answered if this team wants to have success in 2025. It's possible, but it's going to be daunting. We're going to get into it right now. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to A Giant Issue. I am Coach Gene Clemons, New York Giants on SI. That's where you get all of your New York Giants news and information from. Make sure you go over there, check out everything we've got going on right now. We have our most indispensable players series going on. We're into the numbers now. I did the couple of honorable mentions that were there before, and I'll be back with your number one. So you want to make sure that you check out all of those as we get going. We've got our series that are about to start dropping, our training camp, all 90 men write-ups on training camp and getting you ready for training camp. We have your countdown going on, or excuse me, that will be going on once we hit June. We've got a lot of stuff over there. I've got a couple of pieces out right now, one on ranking every quarterback that the New York Giants will face this season. I've got another piece that'll be coming soon, ranking every defense that the New York Giants will be facing this season, every running game that the New York Giants will be facing this season. I have them all ranked down. I'm looking forward to you checking them out, seeing what it's about. Because again, I don't just talk on this thing, I write about it as well. Over at the New York Giants on that side, that's where you can see all that news, all that information that we have right there. Obviously, love when you guys come over here, patronize over here. How do you pay your rent? You got to hit that subscribe button. You got to hit that notification bell to let you know when a giant issue is dropping. Let you know every week when Paul Dottino is going to go live with his Big Blue Breakdown. We appreciate all the love, but I know it's right here where we build this thing up together. So 5,000 subs, that's what we need before we get to week 1 of the season. So keep on hitting that notification bell. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Hey, if you want to like retweet this or tweet out the link, let the people that you know, the people that follow you know, hey, there's a guy over here talking Giants. He's trying to do it the best he can. Come on over. We'd love to hear from you. Interesting, off the heels of my 3 burning questions about the offense, I really wanted to make sure that I was fair to the defense and what their 3 burning questions are. And by the way, before I get started, let me just say, I know the hair's out. So all of you people calling me a Cooper Trooper and the mushroom heads from Super Mario Brothers, I'm here for it. I love it, right? Here's what I ask. If you make fun of my hair, just go ahead and drop your picture like in there so that we can have a reciprocal. Because I guarantee you, like, I love these jokes. I love the joke like that. I'm going to find something to get on you about as well if you're on my hair. Shout out to my hair. Sometimes, like I said, I just got to let it breathe. It's like the brain has to, the thoughts have to escape. So I've got to just let it breathe and not have it, curled up. So all of you that want to get the jokes off, keep getting the jokes off in the comments. I don't mind. I really don't. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I think they're funny. But I do want to get some jokes off back. So drop those pictures in there. Also, I want to say rest in peace to Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts. I don't care what you thought about Irsay as a person, what he's been through, but that's young for anybody to pass away. And so if you've had any family members that you feel like you lost too soon, then it should be rest in peace to Jim Irsay and thoughts and prayers to his family and the people who loved him, because there were tons of people out there who loved him. So never want to see anyone pass too early. Don't want to be the one that passes too early. I'd like to live a long and healthy and fruitful life. And so definitely wanted to send my thoughts and prayers out to the Irsay family and anybody associated with the Irsay family who may view today or view his loss as a tragic loss. I also want to talk to a couple of people who are really like adamant about getting rid of the tush push. Like, don't be so soft, right? Putting a rule in place that is only designed to stop one team is corny. I would recommend that most of you do what Baltimore has done. Baltimore, instead of complaining about the tush push, found someone on their team that could effectively run the tush push, and now they do it. And guess what? If every team does that, which every team should, they should all cultivate someone who's as good at running the tush push as the Eagles are, right? Because it's not just about the person getting pushed. I had an argument, it wasn't an argument, it was a conversation. I had a conversation with someone online on X who said, well, you know, Jalen Hurts isn't really doing anything. They're pushing him over the top. And I'm like, so he's jumping in the air and they're pushing him over the top of these piles? It doesn't make any sense. Jalen Hurts is one of the strongest, most powerful quarterbacks in the NFL, if not the most powerful. He's got the strongest lower body of anyone in the league that plays the position. The strongest. So, like, he's able to get down and find a seam and use his legs, and then yes, he gets some push if he doesn't. But the push is only to get him going forward, because once he's going forward, he can use those legs to power through. I'll give you an analogy. You know how if you've ever like done a squat, right? When you do the squat and you get past 90 degrees, when you're trying to come up, you might be struggling to come up. But then if somebody just gives you a little bit of help, like a little bit of lift, and gets your momentum going up, your muscles then contract and they're able to take over, and you can explode up the rest of the way. That's what it is for Jalen Hurts, right? That's what it is for Jalen Hurts. So if they got rid of the tush push, they would probably go and study. They would probably go and study the way that the New England Patriots used to do it with Tom Brady, and he would still have success. So I just wanted to say, people out there trying to get the tush push banned just because it's one team, nah. Now, instead, do the thing that they've done, take the advantage, make it a weapon, just like that. That's what I would do. You have several people on this team that could be a possible candidate for running the tush push with. You just got to find a way to implement it, right? And then you've got to be dedicated to it, and not a scaredy cat like the Eagles are. The Eagles, the reason why it's so successful for the Eagles is because they've done it. They keep having success and they are committed to it. 1 yard, 2 yards away, third down and short, fourth down and short, they're going for it. They don't care, right? That's why they're successful. I wanted to get back into those 3 burning questions on the defense, because I think that it's really important to understand what this team has to do in order to be successful this year, because the schedule's tough. But it's not just that the schedule's tough. And this is what I'm learning while going through and ranking the quarterbacks and ranking the running games. Like, it's not just that, oh, the schedule's tough, they're playing tough teams. No, they're playing teams that have elements that this team has struggled against. And so it's important for this team, this Giants 2025 team, to be able to combat those issues in order to have success. So I want to get to the first question. The first question is, can this revamped defensive line stop the run? I think that's pretty simple, right? Can this revamped line Stop the run. Now, here's what I'll tell you the first big element to stopping the run is going to be. And it doesn't happen on defense. The offense has to do their job. Remember one of the burning questions for the offense? Can this offense score points? Ta-da! If the offense is able to get to, and I believe I said 23 points a game, that means they possess the ball longer. That means that the opposition can't just run the ball. They've got to pass as well, which will unlock the defense's pass rush and mean that they don't have to go against the run as often, right? Here's another thing that I think will help to make this team better against the run. And this is the questions that I don't know the answers to. They've got to be willing to take the edge rushers off the field altogether. They've got to be willing and able to take Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter off the field as edge rushers and put those defensive linemen that have the ability to play on the outside and on the inside, like Golston, like those guys. They've got to be able to put those guys in, right? Roy Robertson, Robertson Harris, excuse me. They've got to be able to put those guys in on likely rundowns and live with the results if it's a pass, right? That's where they say, hey, DBs, you guys have to be able to cover. Linebackers, you guys have to be able to cover. And luckily, right, Micah McFadden, not a bad intermediate pass coverage guy. We know that Bobby Okereke is a good intermediate pass coverage guy. So you've got to put guys on the field who are more adept at defending the run, right? So now if you do that and you get into more of a 40 front, because now with that guy comes in and the edge rush becomes another defensive end, and you can stop them for one down, right, where they're not able to pick up yards. In the NFL, if they don't pick up yards on first down, like if they don't pick up rushing yards on first down, second and third down automatically become pass plays. A lot of times that's how these teams operate. If they can't stay, quote unquote, on schedule, right? And on schedule means first down, I pick up more than 3.5 yards or 3.5 or more yards. That leaves me in 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7 at the most. I'm still on schedule. So now if I run the ball on second and I pick up 3 yards, that leaves me with 3rd and short. That's where we want to be at, right? That leaves me at 3rd and short. So if you can stop them on one of those plays and now put them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, 2nd and medium, 3rd and medium, or excuse me, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, 2nd and long, 3rd and medium, they're passing the ball. Now you bring in the pass rushers. Now you kick Golston down, right, into the interior. You bring on both of your edge rushers. You might bring on all 3 of your edge rushers. You might have one up moving like a radar. Like now you get the dynamic, go get the quarterback guys going. But you should only be doing that once you've committed yourself to stopping the run. Now, you know what offenses will do in order to combat you putting more run-heavy personnel on the field? They'll try to pass it. But there's 3 things that we know about the pass, right? There's things that we know about a pass. A pass, there's 3 outcomes. 2 of them are bad. 1 is a completion, 2 is an incompletion, 3 is a turnover, right? 1 is a completion, 2 is an incompletion, 3 is a turnover. So I'm going to take my chances with the 33%, hope that my defensive line can at least put pressure on, if not get to the quarterback when we play solid coverage behind them. And if I can get that to be an incompletion, now I know it's a pass play next play. If they pass on first down and don't get the pass, it's incomplete and it's 2nd and 10. They're passing the ball. 3rd and 10. They're passing the ball and then they're punting. That's how this defense will get better against the run. Use the bodies. Use those guys who have the dynamics. Use those guys that have the ability to do multiple things, right? Chauncey Golston played defensive end with the Cowboys, but Chauncey Golston also played defensive tackle. When in rushing situations, right? Roy Robertson, same thing. Robertson Harris, the same thing, right? Ledbetter, more of an inside guy, but did play a little bit outside in run situations. So you have 3 guys that you brought in to do that type of job. And if you add the rookie in, many people believe that Darius Alexander has an ability to play a 5 technique as well as inside. I personally think his best usage is inside, the same way I think Ledbetter's best usage is inside. But if you're trying to stop the run, put the personnel in to help you stop the run. Bottom line. The second question that is important to explore for the defense is, will adding Abdul Carter make this one of the top pass rushing defenses in the NFL? Now, before you start laughing, right? Before you start thinking to yourself, my gosh, we're nowhere near close to being one of the best pass rushing teams in the country or in the NFL, right? I want you to think about this. Last season, this Giants team was tied for 8th in the league with 45 sacks. Remember when I told you guys that y'all are too infatuated with one person having like double-digit sacks? Why not have a bunch of people that are on the brink of double-digit sacks? And everybody just laughed at me talking about Kayvon Thibodeau was trash, right? And that he's a bust and that his this and his that, right? But here's what I know. Kayvon Thibodeau last year in a shortened role, right? In 12 games had 5.5 sacks. How many more sacks would he have had if he had played those other 5 games? In 12 games, he had 5.5 sacks, right? So if I'm doing some quick math, right? 5.5 sacks over 12 games, that's, every 6 games, 2.75 sacks. So add another 2 sacks on just for averages purposes, add another 2 sacks on over the next 5 games. He finishes with 7.5 sacks. Does his season seem like a waste then if it's 7.5 sacks that he has for a season? What about the fact that a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau gets hot and usually has one of those games where he gets multiple sacks? Now, what if he ends up with 8, 9? Was that a bad season to back up with the double-digit season that he had last year? It didn't get in the way of Brian Burns and what he was able to do. It didn't get in the way of Dexter Lawrence, who, by the way, had 9 sacks in the same time. But then also, how many would he have had if he played a full group? And now, instead of Azeez Ojulari coming in, spelling those guys, you have Abdul Carter, who in the Penn State lore is an upgrade, right? from Aziz. Explosiveness, speed, it's an upgrade. Now, when you start adding Abdul Carter as a possible stand-up linebacker who's blitzing, that takes it to a whole nother dynamic. And now this team that was a top 10 team in sacks last year, right? This team who was tied for 8th, how many more sacks would they need to get in order to be a top 5? If you're a top 5 team in sacks, are you an elite level sack team, right? Are you a top pass rushing defense in the league? If you are within the top 5 of sacks, let's just say we get a healthy season. And by the way, a healthy season to me is no longer saying that they play all 17 games. A healthy season to me is 15 out of 17. You miss 2 games, or the equivalent of 2 games throughout the year, right? One of them shouldn't even be a game because they shouldn't be adding more games to the season. So if you play 15 games, out of the season, and you get 15 games from Thibodeau and 15 from Burns and 15 from Lawrence and 15 from the other guys and 15 from Abdul Carter with significant snaps, you're telling me that this unit couldn't put up 60 sacks? You're telling me that this unit, with all of those bodies and all those fresh weapons to be able to throw at teams that may have to pass the ball more because now the run defense is better, you're telling me that team can't put up 60 sacks? I beg to differ. The question is, how ready is Abdul Carter to be able to step in and be what Kayvon Thibodeau was as a rookie? Remember, Kayvon Thibodeau missed those first few games because of that weird, the weird hit he took, right? Remember, he took that weird hit out the side and he kind of, tweaked his knee. He missed some games. Then he came in and he was trying to figure it out. I think that Abdul Carter will have an advantage over Kayvon Thibodeau out the gate because he's more twitchy. But if he has the type of season that Kayvon Thibodeau had as a rookie, because he's surrounded by better weapons, by more dynamic pass rushers, I think he could have 8 sacks because he's going to be utilized, possibly, hopefully, he's going to be utilized in different ways to allow him to get to the quarterback. Yeah, I think he could have 8 sacks. And if he's got 8 sacks, and Thibodeau's got 8 sacks, and Burns has 8 sacks, and Lawrence has 8 sacks, just do the math, just on those, right? That's 36 sacks. Excuse me, 32 sacks. My brain. That's 32 sacks, right? 8 and 8, 16, 8 and 8, 16. That's 32 sacks coming from those 4 guys. Now, then add in all of the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s that you get from everybody else. And you quickly will add up to another 20 sacks, 25 sacks, 28 sacks. Like, getting to 60 isn't difficult when you've got a pass rush by committee, because you have so many dynamic. And I'm being on the low end when I say 8, 8, 8, and 8. Right? I'm on the low end. I think that if Kayvon Thibodeau plays a full season last year, he's at 8, 9. I think that if Dexter Lawrence plays a full season last year, he's at 12. I think Brian Burns, if he would have had Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence for a full season, is at least at 10. Now that's 30 between 3 people. That type of production is what puts you in the upper echelon, is what puts you in that small room of pass rushing units. That is interesting because that puts you on par and maybe even better than what Philadelphia has over there. Not saying that it's a better overall defensive line, but when we're strictly talking about pass rushing, if we're just talking about pass rushing, tell me that Philadelphia can throw out bodies that have a proven track record of pass rushing like the Giants can. Like, who's the interior guy that is as good a pass rusher as Dexter Lawrence? Right? Might be somebody just as good, nobody better. The edge rushers, they don't have Swift anymore, right? They don't have all of those guys. Who's the guy getting double digits on the outside? And then who's the guy next on the other side of him who's also capable of double digits? And who's the third guy that has the ability to get double digits as well? Because that's now what the Giants have. So I'm excited about this, but it's a question because that only hinges on Abdul Carter being able to come in and hit the ground running. Remember, even more than Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter is being considered by many as a generational talent. Generational talents don't have learning curves. Generational talents just come in and start wrecking shop right now. I think that Abdul Carter doesn't have to be a 12, 13 sack guy as a rookie because he's got help from his friends. But if he's an 8, he's at 8. We talking business now, right? We're talking business. And that would be exciting to see if he can be there. The last question that I have, and I mean, I would say I have way more questions than that, but because one of the biggest issues that we saw in 2024 is that this team didn't have an ability to take the ball away. The guy that had the ability to take the ball away, they let walk in free agency over to Green Bay, and guess what he did over in Green Bay? He took the ball away a lot. So now what does the Giants do? They retool. The question becomes, will they be able to create more turnovers in 2025? Right? And more specifically than just being able to create more turnovers, can they get more interceptions? Because in 2024, to their credit, right, they were top 8 in forced fumbles. They were 8th in forced fumbles, 7th in fumbles recovered. That was this Giants team, right? 8th in forced fumbles, 7th in fumbles recovered. But when it came to interceptions, they were the second worst team in the NFL. Now, think about 2023, not even 2022. Nobody's talking about that. Just think about 2023. They were tied for second in the league in 2023. They had 18 interceptions. What's the difference? High quality safety play. So what did they do? They went out and got who they believe can be high quality safety play in Javon Holland. But if you look at Javon Holland's career, not a lot of taking the ball away. You know who does have a history of taking the ball away, though? Paulson Adebo, who they also brought in to play cornerback. So now between Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland, can this team turn the ball over enough from interceptions, right? We already seen it. They've been pretty consistent when it comes to getting the ball away and watching people put the ball on the ground. That's been pretty consistent in the 3 years, right? But through the air, taking the ball away from people through the air, it has not been consistent. So can this defense find a way to create more turnovers in 2025? It's going to come because those safeties, or the safety, Javon Holland, the cornerback, Paulson Adebo, are able to be more sticky in coverage, possibly knocking balls into the air. And we do know that these linebackers have an ability to track down balls that are in the air and grab them. Pause. So anytime we see those footballs sail through the air, we need to see bodies that have the blue on, right? The bodies that have blue on attacking the ball in the air. And if that happens, then this defense can be better for it. You've got to find ways to manufacture more possessions. 18 interceptions means 18 more possessions for your offense. 18 more opportunities for your offense to be successful. 18 times that your offense gets an opportunity to put points on the board. That's something that they did not have an opportunity to do in 2024, and that's why they lost so many one-score games. It's just that simple, ladies and gentlemen. So again, those 3 burning questions that you should be looking at to have answered in 2025 when you're watching. Can this team create more turnovers, especially interceptions? Can this team with Abdul Carter become an elite level pass rushing unit? And can that revamped defensive line really help stop the run? Really and truly help to mitigate them getting ran all over? Because it's a big issue right now. It was actually a pretty decent issue in 2022. You want to know what helped it that year? That was the last time they scored over 20 points a game, over 21 points a game. Since then, no points, more running. Right? So I'm interested. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see how that thing goes. I know you're excited, and we'll continue to talk about these things and continue to theorize things until we start seeing football players back on the field again. Make sure you go over to the New York Giants on SI. Check out everything I'm doing over there. Check out my article on the 3 defensive things that need to be done when that drops. The 3 offensive questions, the 3 offensive questions, burning questions that we have. Make sure you check that out. Check out all of the information that I'm giving out over there on the New York Giants on SI. Make sure you tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, for me and my fro, I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.